Welcome to Soul Purpose Healing. I'm Beata, your host, and I have tonight the queen of travel advising, Miss Shonda Merrick, joining me. I'm so excited because one of the reasons I decided to live tiny house because I can travel more. I have had the last 2 years, I've been to places that were on my bucket list: Cuba and Belize and Costa Rica. That's another one. And it was all possible because I downsized my lifestyle and went tiny. So, welcome to Soul Purpose Healing, where we do promote tiny house living right here. So, let me introduce you to a few tiny house adventures that you can go on to. And it's all so welcome back. And as I said, one of the reasons I went into tiny house living because I wanted to travel more. I traveled a lot in my almost 40-year marriage because my husband worked for a major airline. So we traveled from Australia to Paris to Israel, all over the place. But Miss Shonda Merrick is the queen of travel, in my opinion. And that's why I've been trying to get her on this show because I love to travel and she's the queen. So let me introduce you to the queen of travel, who she is a luxury travel advisor. Welcome, Shonda Merrick. How are you?
I'm great.
Can you
How
hear
are
me?
you? Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I think so. Let me turn up my volume. Yes. How are you this evening?
I am wonderful. I'm wonderful.
I
Thank
am
you for
wonderful.
having me. It is a pleasure to be here.
Listen, when the first time I talked to you on the phone, I'm like, ooh, this queen has to be on the show because, as I just said, I think traveling is the best education for our
It
youth.
is.
If we could get more kids out of this public, especially public school, and traveling on a bus, plane, whatever,
Mhm.
I think that's a better education.
I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree. It is it is the single thing that has truly changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah. So, welcome to Soul Purpose Healing. And I would love for you to just give our audience a little history about yourself, who you are, where you started, whatever, however you want to do it. Just let's get to know Shonda Merrick tonight, and then we're going to hear about all your wonderful traveling experiences, which I can't wait. It's an education in itself.
Okay, I am happy to share. So, I am Shonda Merrick. As she stated, I am a luxury travel advisor. I have been in the travel and event industry for nearly, I'm going to say about 20, over 20 years. And it is the thing that I just truly love when they say that you can, if you never work a day in your life, when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I think that's the same.
Your video is freezing and you're a little choppy.
My
So I
video is
don't know
free.
if you can adjust. Yeah, you're freezing and you're sounding choppy now and then. Now you're okay, but I don't know if you can
Okay.
adjust anything. Wi-Fi
You know what?
issue or whatever.
I use Apple products, so I have to use my phone because I can't go in on my laptop or on my iPad. So I had to use my phone to connect in. Um, I don't know
Oh,
because
you're on
everything
your
looks
phone?
clear. Yeah, I'm on my phone, but
You're on your
everything looks
phone?
clear. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we're getting choppy and freeze.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll
Yeah.
just yeah, you're frozen right now. Like right now you're frozen. I can't you're not moving.
I'm frozen.
So I
Oh
don't know if you
no.
can yeah, you're frozen. Yeah, you're not
Yeah,
moving.
my
Okay, there you're moving. So it's coming in and is there any way you can switch to your laptop?
no, because my laptop doesn't have the supported browser. So I use a Mac. So because I have a Mac, I can't use, I don't have, the only thing I have on there is I think it's whatever the
Chrome?
Apple, yeah.
Oh, I know. Safari.
Safari, that's what it is. Safari. I don't know why I kept saying Chrome.
Yeah, you don't
Safari.
have Chrome. You don't have Chrome.
No, I don't
You don't
have
have
Chrome. Let
Chrome.
me, I don't. Let me see if it'll let me download it, but
That's
I
exact. Well, that's exactly what I have to do. I have a MacBook. I can't use Safari at all. I have to go to Chrome to do my show and to do streaming. Now, right now you're good. I don't know what you
okay.
did, but you're moving. You're moving,
Mhm.
and maybe your voice won't be choppy. But okay, now you're frozen again. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. And
Yeah.
I have it, when I say I have very good internet, like I have like the best internet you can have. So I know it's not my internet. Um I don't know. Yeah, it won't let me download Chrome. Yeah, it doesn't allow you to download Chrome on the MacBook.
Yeah, I do. I have it on my MacBook.
Yeah, I'm looking in here. I'm
So
looking
I
in
don't
the
know.
App Store right now and it's not giving me an option. It's an open link in Chrome. Maybe I can try that.
Yeah, I have had to do use Chrome forever on my MacBook. So you can use it, but you have to download it the the app in your laptop.
Okay.
I mean, we can try to keep going, but so far you're freezing and then your voice is kind of choppy now and then.
Yeah, and I tested, so I'm not sure what is going on. Give me a moment.
Would it be moving to another location in your
No,
house
this is
or
where I
in your
do all of
place?
my broadcasting from. So I do all of my broadcasting from here for like all of my socials and everything. So this is like my perfect location.
Oh,
And
okay.
this
So
is
it's
I'm
not
like maybe
location,
like
location, location.
yeah, it is not. I'm like maybe
It's
two, like not even 2 feet away from my extender
it's your
and from my
browser.
router. Oh no. So okay, so this
Okay,
is
so now
29.99.
somebody's saying I'm choppy.
Yeah,
They're
you're
saying it's
freezing.
not you, but I'm choppy.
Yeah, because I'm seeing like
Okay,
you
you know
freeze, but
what? Let me do this. Okay, hold on. I do not have my router hooked up. Let me do that. All right. Living a live life. Can you am I is that better for you? I just plugged in my router to boost. Maybe it was just the boost. It needed a boost.
you know
So
what?
see if
I'm gonna go out and see if I can come back in on my laptop. I'm on
now
my iPad.
you're sounding better right now. And I just plugged in my router because somebody's okay. So somebody said I'm sounding better. So maybe we can, if you want to try one more time, we'll see if my router makes a difference.
Okay. Give me just a second. Let me do this. I'm gonna leave from my phone and try to come in with my iPad and see if that helps.
That's good. I'm in the meantime. Thank you all. Thank you, living a live life. I appreciate that feedback because you know how technology is. In the meantime, I'm going to play the prayer. We're going to say a prayer. We're going to put a prayer in here to change the energy of this evening and see if that works, if that improves things. Let's do the prayer of the 7 galactic directions before we get started.
Light. May wisdom dawn in us so we may see all things in clarity. May wisdom ripen in us so we may see all from within. From the West, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the South, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. from the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once. May everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum, Hunabku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayum, Hunabku, Eva Maya, E Maho. Ayum, Hunabku, Evam Maya, E Maho.
So that's the prayer of the seven galactic directions. And we're going to try this again with the Queen of Travel, Shonda Merrick. How are you? Here we go again.
I am wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate your patience. I'm so sorry this is happening.
Don't worry. No worries. No worries. No worries. Listen, I've learned to, after 11, almost 12 years on Blog Talk Radio, I've learned to be patient and adjust. And
Right.
Having grandchildren raises your patience level.
They do.
So I know you got one or two, don't you?
I have two. Yeah, I have two.
Yeah. So thank you, Shonda, for joining us. And I really do think of you as the queen of travel, luxury, and all that. So I feel honored to have you on here. And for those of you who don't know, this is Kwame's daughter. Are you the oldest daughter?
No, I'm the second to the oldest daughter, the third oldest child, but the second to the oldest daughter. Yes.
Yeah, so you have the beauty and you have the beautiful spirit of our brother Kwame, because he's my brother, so that makes you
your niece. Yeah, your niece.
Welcome, niece. Welcome, niece.
Thank you, Auntie.
All right, so please share a little bit about yourself, whatever you want from childhood on, or whatever, how you became this queen of travel.
So, I started loving travel. I think I was probably in about the fourth or fifth grade. And we had taken a trip to the library and I saw a National Geographic magazine. And I was just like in awe of like just thumbing through this magazine and the beauty of the pictures and the photography and everything. And one thing about my parents, my mom and my dad had always exposed me to like a lot of art and different things like that. So I grew up in Chicago and they would take me to the museums there in Chicago. And if you know anything about Chicago, they have the most amazing museums there.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was like they did everything to like really just expand my horizon and make sure, that I knew about different cultures and customs, but also that I had a very good knowledge of self. So I attended an elementary school that taught Black history. I didn't learn American history growing up. So that's a whole nother story. But I grew up learning my history. So I had a very strong awareness of self. And then that my father would always, you come from queens and kings, and, this is your heritage, this is your history. And learning that and picking up that magazine that day and seeing the beauty of those people that were out on the other side of the world. And so I thought to myself, I was like, you know what? I was like, I really want this magazine. I'm going to take this out as my book. And I was in a Catholic school and the nun told me, she said, no, she said, you can't take magazines out. And I was like, what? And she's like, no, she's like, you can't take magazines out. And I was crushed. I mean, I was absolutely crushed because I've always been a very avid reader. I've always loved to read. And so when she said that, I was like, okay. And so being my little, self, I'm maybe 10 cent wet, and that's soaking wet at the time. And so
Wow.
I tried to take the book and I was going to carry it out underneath my vest, the magazine. And she said, no, she said, you know what you can do? She said, if you come back and you help me each week put away the books when your class comes in, she said, the magazines that we discard, she said, I have to tear the front cover off of it. She said, but the ones that we discard, what I'll do for you is I will let you have those magazines. Well, needless to say, I began having this collection of magazines. And so every so often I would go to my mom and I would say, Mom, you know what? I want to go here. Look at this. This is China, or this is Vietnam, or this is well, it wasn't Rwanda at the time. These are various countries throughout Africa and the world. And she was like, girl, look, we ain't got no money. We can't afford to go across the street. How you gonna go around the world?
It's a typical mom. It's your black mom back
Yes,
there.
a typical
Don't have
Black
the money.
mom. Right.
Yep.
And so even though it crushed me, it still lit like this fire in me and this desire to still want to travel. I knew, the conscious mind knows. So in my conscious, I knew that one day, somehow, some way, I would be able to travel the world. And then fast forward to, I was maybe about a year after that. We were in downtown Chicago, and I have a set of twin sisters from my mom, and one of them had to use the bathroom, and she took us to this hotel called the Palmer House. And the Palmer House is a 5-star. It's still to this day is a 5-star hotel. That was in the 80s.
Right.
And she looked at us before we walked in that door and she said, you guys better not embarrass me in here.
Morning.
Warning, right? So we knew better than, when we got that look or she made that statement, we knew to be on our absolute best behavior. We walked into that hotel, and just the vastness and the beauty of the ornate ceilings and the plush carpet and the marble floors and the velvet couches, the clinking of the china and the doorman, and just the wait staff and the way that they were dressed. And we went into the bathroom, and when we came out, the lady handed us a towel to dry our hands on. And
Wow.
I was just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, Mom was like, can we come back here? She was like, girl, no. She was like, you lucky they let us use the bathroom.
Really, really. Yeah, and I grew up in Chicago. I don't know if I ever visited that hotel.
Yeah.
Maybe once, but yeah, that's a real treat.
Yeah, it was a real treat. So fast forward, and this is how the conscious mind works. So fast forward, it is like 20, I say it's about 2007. And I'm working for a banking company. So my background is in event planning for corporate events and corporate finance, planning events for them. And that's how I got into the luxury travel space. And so I was to do a site inspection for the Palmer House. And
Ooh,
I told my sales rep the story about me visiting the hotel. And she says, well, you have to stay here. And I was like, but I don't know if I can squeeze it into my schedule. She says, well, you said you're staying over the weekend. Because whenever I would go to Chicago, I would stay over the weekend to visit with my sisters and my grandmother and my aunt. And she said, well, since you're staying over the weekend, she said, why don't you stay Friday night? She said, and then go stay with your family the rest of the weekend. And I agreed. And so I got there and I got my key. I went up to the room and she had put me in the presidential suite.
what? Ooh, talk about whetting your appetite for
Yes.
traveling,
Yes.
luxury
Yeah,
traveling.
she
Yeah.
put me in the presidential suite, and I
Wow.
was so scared and so nervous. I called my sister Lisa, and I was like, "You have to come stay with me. I can't stay in this room by myself. It's too big."
Was it king size bed?
Oh, it was it. I think it's like almost like 3,000 square feet. It's
Wow.
huge. It's huge. I mean, and it's absolutely beautiful. It overlooks the lake and downtown, and
Wow.
it's so, so beautiful. It's right off of Michigan Avenue. I mean, the views are phenomenal. It's just breathtaking. And then,
Yes.
it has like a full size, living room, a full size dining room. I mean, it has all of the amenities, everything that you could want, and then more.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that, and then just, working in the industry that, my professional industry that I'm in, which is corporate event planning. Being in that industry for finance and for banking and for investment services, has just really like allowed me to see a completely different level and a different side of travel that we normally don't see. So seeing that, and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, there's not enough of us here. There's not enough of us in this space. And so, I made it a point that when I would go to these places, that I would stay over on the weekend. And then I started inviting my girlfriends, I started inviting family members, and then it just evolved into a business. And it is something that I feel like every person deserves and it doesn't have to be a super high end experience, but you deserve a luxury experience where you're catered to, where you can just take a moment to disconnect, relax, and just allow it gives you so much creativity. Like, it once you like put your phone down, put the devices away, you have so much creativity, and um so much comes back into your actual conscious mind, that you're able to release. We're so I think we are so overstimulated, and the only reason I'm on the internet today is because I'm doing your show, because Sundays is my disconnect day. It
Good
is
for
my day,
you.
my joy. I call it my joy of disconnecting. And this is my day that I take off of all social media. I take off of all devices. I don't do anything that has to do with a computer, an iPad, a phone, anything. I just enjoy the day. Like
Yeah.
earlier, I driving a and I was charging my car, and I opened the sunroof because I was parked under these beautiful trees, and I just laid there and I just watched the wind move in and out of the trees. And it was so, I mean, that's something you can't get looking at a screen. And that's what I tell people, oh, well, I've seen that on TV, or I've seen it here, or I've seen it on the internet. It's a completely different feeling when you walk into another country, another city, and the smells and hearing the sounds of the different languages, and the cars hum differently and people move differently and crossing the streets. It's a really big difference in traveling than looking at it online.
Yeah, and I was thinking about reasons for young people to travel, and you brought up creativity, which I hadn't really thought about.
Hmm.
That's actually an awesome way to look at what you're going to learn from traveling. It's going to inspire your creativity. I hadn't even
It
thought of
does.
that.
Yeah, it really does. And it gives you like a reset, especially if you're like an executive, or you're a CEO, or you're someone that's always on, always giving presentations, always in front of people. When you take that time to just relax and to reset, I mean, it just truly does something to you internally. It gives you back that peace, it gives you back that relaxation, and you're able to think more clearly and to work, in a much better you when you come back from vacation. Just think about, when you were working and you would come back from vacation, and how much better you were at your job.
Yeah, yeah. And depending on your environment that you live in day by day, I think it inspires gratitude
It
when you go
does.
to a different environment. I, for
It
one,
does.
I'm in a tiny house. I have a twin bed I sleep in every night.
Uh-huh.
And I have been blessed so many times to be in a hotel with a king size bed. And I'm like, woo, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then I come back here and I'm like, gratitude, gratitude, because every night
Yes.
and I get to go to a nice hotel and sleep king size
Mhm.
bed, stretch my arms out and okay, so we got creativity, gratitude. What's next? Okay, the lessons for travel. You've been where you've been to Thailand, right?
No, I haven't been to Thailand. I just
Where?
started my Asia journey a year before last.
Uh-huh.
So I've been to Japan, I've been to Malaysia, the Philippines.
Malaysia. That's where I think we talked about what was that like? Malaysia. Okay, everybody who's got Malaysia on your bucket list, what was that like? What are the pros and cons of Malaysia? Because I'd love to see that.
Yeah, Malaysia is a beautiful country. I mean, it is so beautiful. The people are very humbled, very nice. And I had an opportunity to do something that most people that visit Malaysia don't. So there are these communities where people live over the water, and I wish I had prepared a little bit better and brought sent you the video so you could show it to everyone. But there are these communities where people live over the water. They spend their entire life living in these, they're called water villages. And the water villages are built on these steeples, and the houses are there. And there's probably about maybe about 150 houses that are all interconnected together. And I think there's only 5 remaining communities in the world, and Malaysia has one of them. And so I was able to go there and meet with the people of the water village. And when I tell you they were the most kind and the most welcoming people, it really boosted Malaysia up to like in my top 10. I've been to 6 continents and over 50 countries. And so to say that, something is in my top 10, it's very near and dear to my heart. But one of the things that I loved about it was seeing a completely different culture, unlike anything that we've ever seen. So when a baby is about 3 months old, they take the baby and they drop the baby in the ocean. If the
Oh,
baby sinks and doesn't come back up, they think that the baby, I shouldn't say they think, they consider the baby to be not strong. But if the baby comes back up, then the baby is going to be strong. They're going to be a good swimmer. They're going to be a good citizen. And yeah, that's exactly it.
okay. So here's
So
water.
I was off of Kenta Baloo. So if you see that one to the second picture, where the colored houses are, that's actually the village
This
that I
one?
was, yes, that's the village that I was able to visit.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, unfortunately, the people that live in the water villages of Sabah, they aren't able to go over to Kinta Baloo. And the reason that they're not able to go over to Kinta Baloo because they're not considered to be citizens of the country of Malaysia. They're not considered to be citizens of any country in the world. They're simply citizens of the water village. And
Okay.
so those boats that you see there, that's what they use for fishing, and that's how they make a living is fishing, and they take the fish. The people that are able to get citizenship of the country of Malaysia, they're able to take the fish that they catch and bring those over to Kinta Baloo and sell the fish there. But other than that, they're required to just stay there in Sabah. They're not allowed to go outside of that area.
So for those who are illiterate, where is Malaysia exactly?
Malaysia is in the South Pacific. So if you're going from Singapore, Vietnam, the Philippines, it's in that area.
So how long of a trip is a flight is that? Get
It's about 20 hours, I think. I didn't fly directly to Malaysia. I actually flew to Singapore, and then I did a cruise from Singapore back to the United States. So I did what they call a 30-day journey back to the United States. Now, the thing that's really interesting about this is my father was in the Navy. So Kwame, as you guys know him, he was in the Navy. And when he was in the Navy, he did the exact same route
wow.
coming back from his tour in the Navy in the Vietnam War. He did the exact same route. coming back to the US. And so for me to fly there and do the same route that he took, it was very emotional for me. It was very emotional for me to go to Vietnam, where he had been, and he had fought in the war, and then to go to the Philippines and go to Japan. Unfortunately, we were supposed to travel to Guam, but there was a very bad tropical storm off of Guam, so we weren't able to stop there. But then we went to Hawaii, and then came back to California.
Well, your Kwame is saying, "Hey, daughter, dearest." He's sending,
Hello, Daddy.
and they that is 20-hour flight. I went to Australia, so I was blessed. So we got bumped up to business executive because people missed their flight, and anyway, and we got that was my first experience after like 15 years of flying to be in business executive, where you
Yeah.
get movies round the for what 14, 15 hours. That's how long
Mhm.
it is to Australia.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that too often, but yeah. How do you recover from long flights like that? How do you advise your clients on recovering from long flights?
Ooh, yes, I do. So one of the things that I tell my clients, if you are going, if you're crossing, for instance, the international date line, I always tell them, and actually, if you're traveling anywhere where you're going to like have a major shift in time, anything over like 8 to 10 hours, I tell them to take a red eye flight. A red eye flight is the best thing that you can do because your body will automatically reset itself. So if you leave, let's just say you leave New York at 10 p.m. and then you arrive over in Europe, you're going to get to Europe about maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. And when you arrive there, just stay up. Do not go to sleep.
Okay,
As much
okay.
as your body wants you to, automatically just start doing things as you normally would. Don't, and you have to really trick your mind. And it's not really tricking your mind, it's just putting your body into where you are. So, say, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I normally have coffee at 3. Let me get my 3 o'clock coffee. Let me eat dinner at 6 p.m. I'm going to eat dinner at 6 p.m., the time zone where I am, not the time zone where I came from. So you'll eat dinner at that same time, you'll go to bed at the same time. And then once you do that, your body will automatically reset itself. So the next morning, you'll wake up just like you're back at home.
Right, right. Now I flew from Florida to New York to Paris to Israel. And by the time I got to, and I took a 10 o'clock flight from New York, but I don't know what
Mm-hmm.
time I left here to get to New York and then go to Paris. I had a long layover in Paris. I think that's what messed it up, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got to Israel, it was Friday night. The sun was setting. That was Sabbath for the whole city of
Oh, yeah.
Israel, of Israel. So I slept for probably 12 hours.
Oh,
I
yes.
was, but I woke up at the end of Sabbath, so
Mm-hmm.
which was good. I think I slept, or yeah, I woke up at the end of Sabbath or something. So I was
Uh,
ready, and then they get up at like 7 at night and party after
yeah.
Sabbath is over.
Israel is one of the places I would love to visit. I have not been able to visit Israel. When I visited the Middle East, because I had traveled to Saudi Arabia, I wasn't able to travel to Israel. So I don't know if your viewers know this, but there are certain countries that if you have a passport stamp from one country, you're not permitted to enter into certain other countries. So
Oh,
Saudi Arabia and Israel are those countries. I think things have gotten a little better. But when I went, if you had a passport stamp from Saudi Arabia, you couldn't go to Israel and vice versa. The same thing, I had my previous passport. I have a passport stamp from Cuba. And so there's certain places that I could not visit with that passport because I had a passport stamp from Cuba. So it's just, little things like that, that when you're traveling and you have a travel advisor, those are things that are so helpful that you can't, I mean, you can Google, but do you really know to Google that? And then
right.
you arrive there at, customs, and they're like, well, you can't come in, and you don't understand why. And then at that point, you're trying to figure out, where can I go, what can I do, when you're being turned away at customs because you have a certain stamp in your passport or something like that.
I didn't know that. I'm thank you for sharing that, because I've been to Cuba.
Hmm.
Let's see, been about 2 years ago. So does that mean I'd have to really check whether I can go to other
Yeah,
countries since I have
yeah,
Cuba?
you
Ooh,
should definitely check that.
been in the U.S. for a while. I'm done flying all over the place for now. I want to see the United States for a while. But your
Oh,
your your father is saying ask you about Sedona. Let's see. I
oh,
asked my daughter about Sedona. Now you and I have both been. I've been to Sedona. Mama AZ's been. Mama AZ. I don't know if you know Mama AZ. When I went to visit her the first time, she and I drove from, I forget where she was living, somewhere in Arizona. We drove to Sedona together.
hmm.
I have to tell you this story because it's just amazing. We were meant to be in Sedona. We went to see this speaker, this motivational speaker, and afterwards, she and I were going to stay in a tent because that's what Mama AZ wants
Wow.
to do. She was like, "Let's stay in a tent." I'm like, "Okay," but we had talked to a couple before this event, and they said, "Wait, just hold on a minute." After the event, they said, "We're going to let you stay in our hotel." And we followed them up this hill. It was dark at night, and there was a jacuzzi in the room. It was like so special. The next morning, there was this amazing water brook on the back of the hotel. We could, and they didn't charge us a dime.
Wow, that's such a blessing. And that's the other thing I love about travel. It's the people that you meet. Like, if you were to look in my phone, I have people from all over the world that I have met, that I continue to keep in touch with. I have phone friends. I mean, people in my phone. I have people that I've invited, on my social media, that we keep in touch. And I absolutely love that. I love like seeing their day-to-day customs in and out of their life and stuff. So yeah, I love that. I love the people that you meet along the way.
So, what's your Sedona story?
So my Sedona story is, my dad was very adamant about me going to Sedona. And I was just like, dad, I was like, I'm not trying to do like stateside travel. I want to see the world.
Yes, yes, yes. Not
Yeah, I
old
want to see
Sedona.
the world. And to make a long story short, I was invited on a trip to Phoenix, and one of the options was to go to Sedona. And so I took the option to go to Sedona. And the moment that I saw those red rocks, I picked up my phone and I was like trying to call my dad, but the signal in Sedona. So unfortunately, I couldn't get through to him right away. But that night when I got to my hotel, I was like, Dad, this is the most magical and beautiful place in the world. And so now every year I have a ritual that I go to Sedona every year. It is my complete disconnect, my complete timeout, that I go to Sedona every year. And then I had the pleasure, I think it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, to go with my dad to Sedona finally. And we stargazed, we hiked, and we took some photos. And it's one of my most memorable times with him, was he and I spending a couple days together in Sedona. I absolutely love that. Oh, I think we lost her. I don't see her on anymore. Okay, so that was Sedona, but Sedona is the most beautiful place. I mean, it has the most amazing red rocks. There's vortexes there. It's a dark sky community. So because it is a dark sky community, it allows you to be able to see the Milky Way. It allows you to be able to see just an infinite number of stars. If you go to Sedona, and I'm very much a believer in that, if you go to Sedona and you don't believe in God, you will leave there believing.
Yeah, now this is a picture of Mama AZ in Sedona. we while we were waiting for this speaker, I don't know if you can, I can't enlarge this, but behind her is just those awesome red, I don't know if
Yeah.
you see it, red mark. And she's standing up there at a podium. There was nobody in the room and we were just pretending. But yeah, that was our experience there. I'll never, it was an amazing experience. We were,
Oh yeah, it is. And then I had the pleasure. I went year before last to Sedona, and my husband and I went in February for our anniversary, and it snowed.
oh, in
Yeah, it
Sedona?
snowed in Sedona. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was breathtaking. It was so, so beautiful. I'm trying to see if I can pull up a picture for you really quick. But yeah, it snowed in Sedona. And I posted the video on my TikTok and it got like 2 million views.
Really?
Yeah, it got like 2 million views from the, this is the video.
Oh, yeah, that is amazing. Wow. I love that. And look
Yeah.
in the background too, is the red.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it's
clouds in the
breathtaking.
background. It is.
Now, did you feel the vortex energy? Because Mama AZ kept saying there's a lot of vortexes in Sedona. Did you feel? And so, did you feel that?
I did. I did. So, my husband and I love to hike and
Oh,
hike
yeah.
to the top of like Cathedral Rock and I think it's Cochina Woman. There's a couple of different trails that we like to take and just going and just sitting there and just enjoying the stillness, the beauty of the stillness. This is actually had my cousin with me one time when I went, and she captured me sitting in the vortex. Is this it? No. This was the first time I ever felt a vortex in Sedona. That's
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I went on a trail as well, and it was just there was a stillness, like you said. Even though there were
Hmm.
a lot of people walking on this trail, it was like we were all in meditation, quiet,
Yes. It feels like.
talking, nobody talking. We were just enjoying the energy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. It's just this incredible energy that you feel. And the breeze is so gentle. Like I can't really describe how it feels, but it's such a warm and comforting. It almost feels like someone's wrapping a blanket around you. It
Yeah.
just
Okay.
feels so good. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's kind of the. So then another reason that you young people need to travel is the experience of different energy.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Where do you think you have had the most amazing or just memorable energy experience when you've traveled? I know Sedona is one, but can you think of other places where
I can. And every time I think about this, it brings me to tears
really?
because I traveled to South Africa and Kenya just before COVID.
Ooh,
And I stood on the the ocean in South Africa, Cape Town. I was at the edge of the water, and it's the coldest water you will ever feel because the water, and I know most people think like it's South Africa, it's hot. It is hot. It is on the equator. However, you have to remember that South Africa is at the tip of basically the world. The only thing below that is Antarctica. So the polar caps from Antarctica melt, and that cold water comes up to South Africa. So the beaches in South Africa are extremely cold. I mean, some of the coldest water I've ever felt in my life.
really?
But it was my intention for my ancestors to step into that water because they had stepped in that water to come over to America. And I had to go back to South Africa and step in that water to bring them back with me.
Oh, that's deep. That's
Yeah.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is, and like I said, every time I tell that story, it like literally brings me to tears because it's just so emotional that I am the first person in my family to travel back to the continent.
Well, you know that I can't help but think of the movie Sinners. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
I haven't.
Okay. But I think that's why so many people love this movie, because kind of what you described, we experienced our ancestors in this movie like I've never
Hmm.
felt before. So if you decide to see it, just get ready. And so because I've seen that people have seen it 4 times already.
Wow.
That's how powerful this movie is. And what you just described about South Africa made me think about the feeling you get watching this movie. The beginning of the movie, I felt like I was in my grandfather's church,
Hmm.
because it was a film. The visual was an old Southern church, old simple Southern church with people
Uh-huh.
wearing white. Everybody in there had white on, and then this young man entering in to talk to his father, who's a preacher. So we don't want any spoilers, but that's why I think this movie is so popular. I mean, every
Wow.
time I'm still reading reviews about this movie,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just amazed at how many people. I got to go back and see it another. I've already seen it once or twice. I got to go back a third time. And I saw somebody, I've seen it 4 times, and
Oh
blah,
my
blah, 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 blah,
goodness.
blah. So the conversation is very interesting. What's going on,
Uh-huh.
and it has to do with our ancestors
Yeah.
feeling and experiencing in a certain environment that you were there. Even I felt
Hmm.
like I was there when they opened this scene. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm in grandfather's church. It's like, whoa. So traveling does that too.
It
I'm
does. Yeah, it
wow.
definitely does. Just hearing, you know, when you're walking around in, you know, South Africa, whatever country you may visit on the continent of Africa, they don't know that you're not African until you open your mouth and you speak. So, you know, everybody automatically assumes that you're of African descent and you're African. So when you finally speak or you say something and they realize that you're American, their first words to you are welcome home.
Oh,
Welcome home, sister. Oh my God, the first time I heard that, the way that I cried, yeah, the way that I cried, I mean, like they were like, you know, welcome home. And then I got to experience a welcoming ceremony. So I went to the Kazuri bead factory in Kenya, just outside of Nairobi. And the ladies there were very kind and they took us on a tour and they sat and they talked to us. And I was explaining to the lady that we were the first people that had come back from our families to the continent of Africa. And the lady then hits on the table. And actually, I want to show you rather than tell you because this is so, so powerful. If you
now
could
I went to
see
when I went to
that.
Israel. When I went to Israel for the first time, I felt like I was home when I landed in Tel Aviv. And
Really?
you know what it says to me that that area is part of Africa.
It is. It is.
They like to separate it Middle East. Well, no, it's part of
No,
Africa,
it's part of Africa.
right there
Yeah.
next to
You look
Egypt,
at.
and the whole history is Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I can relate to my memory of stepping off that plane and feeling like I feel like I've come home.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you think about all the different lives that we've had, if you believe in, different lives, that I could have been there at another life, or it just something that just resonated with my soul,
Yep.
that this was at one time my home.
Yeah.
And part of my ancestors were here,
Mm-hmm.
who are in me, who are in you, and us. We go to these lands, and like you just described, you feel like they welcome you home, and then you shed tears because of the truth of that
Yes.
spirit.
because of that spirit. Exactly.
They just spoke
That-
to you a truth that you knew in your soul.
right.
And so now you shed tears from it. But yeah,
Yes,
that's great. That's love,
it
wonderful.
is. So I'm gonna hold on. Make sure the sound is on. This is what.
Now, where is it?
This is in Kenya.
In Kenya.
Yes.
Now, how long ago was this?
This was in 2019.
All right.
So they did this welcoming ceremony, and then at the end of the ceremony, the lady says to me, she says, "We are your parents. We are your sisters. We are your grandparents. We are your ancestors. Welcome home."
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Were you there alone?
No, no, I was with a few other people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So did they all have this?
All, yeah, we all had the same experience. Yeah, when we left that place and we got back in the van, I don't think there was a dry eye in the van. Yeah, I
Well,
don't think it was a dry. Everybody was moved in some way by what had transpired there in that place.
yeah. So in overall in the area Africa, did you see the comparison of simple living versus modern day urban living? What did you think or feel about that?
So there are some, and I tell people this, it's everywhere. It's not just Africa. There are impoverished areas in every country, no matter how rich, how beautiful. I think the only place I've never seen an impoverished area was in Monaco. And if you know about Monaco, Monaco is actually, I think it is the richest country in the world.
Now that's Spain.
Monaco is between Italy and France.
Okay.
And it's one of the richest places in the world. But every other place I have visited, every other country I have set foot in, I have seen, the beautiful opulence of the wealthy, and then I've seen the humbleness and the meekness of those that aren't as fortunate. I would say that in Cuba, the people there, despite what they lacked and what they did not have, were the kindest people I have ever met in the world. I mean, just the absolutely, for you to have your food rationed and for our driver to offer an opportunity for us to come and eat at his home. And they have to wait in line for hours upon hours just to receive food. And he said, I would be honored for you guys to come and eat with my family. And it's like, how do you offer someone to come and eat when you have to wait to purchase your food? You only have certain days a month that you can buy your food on, and then you only receive a ration of food. And then to offer that to someone, like, I I've never, I shouldn't say I've never experienced that in America, but I feel like we as a people in America would appreciate what we have and have much more respect and love for the opportunity that we have should we visit other countries like, Cuba and South Africa and places like that, where people truly do have to strive in order just to have a normal day-to-day life of living.
Yes, yes. Now, where did you go in Cuba? Because I only stayed in Havana for 3 days and I saw more poverty there than wealth, but we enjoyed in fact, I remember we were walking, it was so hot too. We were walking through Havana. People were lining up to get rations of bread.
Yeah.
I thought we're in 2023 and this is happening.
Yeah.
Whoa, makes you come back with gratitude. I'm just saying. And then you
It
walk down the grocery,
so
you walk down the aisle of a grocery store in the United States and you got 100 loaves of bread. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
But where were you in Cuba? Because
We were in Havana also,
okay,
and we had do one of the things that I like to do when I travel, especially with a group. It's called Leave a Little Love, and so we had collected school supplies for the children there. It was just pencils and paper and just crayons, markers, things like that that we wanted to bring to the children over in Cuba. And unfortunately, we were met with opposition and we were told that we wouldn't be able to do it. The second day, when we went to bring them out again, we were allowed to give, I specifically had to talked to our driver that we had, and then he was able to say, okay, I'll accept them, and then we can take them and we can donate them. Like they have to literally had to take, I think they had to take a donation to the government, and then they would distribute them, but we weren't allowed to just distribute them randomly throughout throughout our time there.
right, right. Oh, that was I want to go back, but I don't want to stay in Havana. I'd like to go further away or out. I didn't get to the beach. I'm a real beach
Yeah.
person. So, where have you been that you found the beaches to be especially nice? Or
The I'd say the most beautiful beaches in the South Pacific. My husband and I traveled to Tahiti, Moorea, and Papeete. And Tahiti, Moorea, Bora Bora, and Papeete. And that was the most beautiful water I have ever seen in my life. I mean, just staring at, oh my goodness, just
better than like Jamaica or the
oh
Bahamas?
my God, there's no comparison, no comparison whatsoever. Like
Okay.
I hate to tell people about it because I don't want it to get spoiled.
Yeah, really. Yeah. No, no, don't go there. Don't go there. Keep it really nice and pristine. Because yeah,
Yeah, so
trash or
there, Fiji, I mean, just the entire South Pacific is truly a treasure. If you ever want to see God's mark on this earth, visit the South Pacific. I mean, and I told my husband when we were sitting there on the beach, I said, if this is this beautiful, imagine what heaven looks like.
wow. Hmm.
Yeah, imagine. I mean, if this is this beautiful, this water, I mean, the blues that are in your headband are the different colors of blues that were in the ocean there. The clearness of the sky and just the amount of stars that you see. And then the sky is such a vibrant blue color. It's not like anything you'll see ever in the United States. The vibrant blue that you see that reflects from the water to the sky, and the piercing white clouds. I mean, it's just, and the food. Oh my God! Like I cannot. I don't even eat American pineapples anymore.
Oh, wow. That
Yeah, and pineapples is one of my favorite fruits, but I will not eat a pineapple in America because the
really.
pineapple and the mangoes and the coconuts, I mean, everything there just tastes completely different.
Were you like on a honeymoon or a tour or how did you end this?
No, my husband and I love to travel, and so we had gone to we had just made a decision that that was where we were going to travel that year, and then I went back and went to Fiji, and then New Caledonia. Like my goal is to see everything in the South Pacific. I want to go see the Cook Islands. I want to go to Western and American Samoa. I want to go to Tonga. I want to see everything that is in the South Pacific because it is just one of the most beautiful parts of the world to me.
So how many flights was that from you were living in LA or California?
Yeah, I was living in so it's easier for us in California to travel to the South Pacific. So the South Pacific, Hawaii is like our Caribbean. So we go to, that's why a lot of people on the West Coast travel often to Hawaii because it's easier for us to get to Hawaii than it is for us to travel back across the states to Florida or to Texas and then travel down to the Caribbean.
Right, right. So you took a well, so Fiji from California to Fiji is not what, maybe 12 hours or
Yeah, it's
something?
not that. No, well, it's I think it's 16 hours. I think it's 16 hours. So it's 8 hours from here to Hawaii, and then another 8 hours from there.
So your dad says you got married in Puerto Rico on the beach.
I did. I
Did you
did.
meet, where'd you meet your husband? Can we ask that?
Sure. So I met my husband at the Nike store. So the cashier thought that we were together.
In California?
In California. He was actually from North Carolina, and I didn't want to date him because he lived out of state, but he made the move here to California, and we have been happily married for 6, going on 7 years.
Okay. And
Yeah,
he loves to travel.
he does. He loves to travel as much as I do.
So was that one of the criteria for finding the right person? Is they had to they had to love to travel, I'm sure.
They did, yes. They had to, they had to love to travel, and they also had to have the means to travel, and then they also had to have the ability to travel.
Hey, that's
So
a lot, sister.
it's actually not a lot. If you
No.
think about it, it all makes sense. So
Yes,
you
yes.
have to love to travel because one of the things that, and it's funny with my dad, he's like, if you ever want to get to know somebody, go on a road trip. And he's like, if you can be in the car with them for 8 hours, he's all, that's probably the person you can be with.
Right.
And my husband is a driver, so me and him, like, we took a road trip before we even got married, across country. We drove from North Carolina to California, and we had the time of our lives. I mean, we had the best time. We had so much fun. We stopped and saw family all across the country, and we just really enjoyed ourselves on that trip. And I forgot where I was going with this, but we did that, and then we came back, and so
Well, that's the big test. I mean,
it's a
driving
big
across
test. It
country.
is. It's a very big test. So to love to travel, and then you have to have the means to travel. Travel isn't cheap. Travel is not. I don't care. Even if you do, like, budget travel, it's still costly to travel. And then the ability to travel. I was with a gentleman before I met my husband. He loved to travel. He had the means to travel, but he had a 8-year-old son, which inhibited us from traveling the way that I did with 2 adult children. So, it's, when they say being equally yoked, all things, it may seem like it's a lot to ask, but it all coincides and it all goes together.
Right, right. Now, how long were you in Fiji?
I was in Fiji for 3 days.
What? That's all?
Yeah. Well, I was on a cruise, so 3 days. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. So you were getting on and off the cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's nice. That's one way to do it.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is.
I
And the
didn't
thing I
think,
love about cruising is that it gives you the ability to see a lot of different places and then decide, okay, I want to come back here. Okay, I saw this. This isn't some place that I would want to revisit again.
yeah, and I went to we were on a cruise ship on the coast of Australia. We flew to Australia, and then we got on a cruise ship for 8 days, I think. I said, I don't want to ever do that again. Not for me. And that was our first cruise ship. And my older son said, Mom, I think you should make a shorter trip one before you go 8 days on a
Yeah, you
cruise.
shouldn't go on an 8-day one right out.
He was
the gate.
right. He was absolutely right. Because if I had 3 days on a cruise ship, I'm good. I'm good. Don't need any more cruise ships. Because all you do is
I'm gonna
eat
pause
all you
for
eat.
1 second and just
Yeah.
turn some light on because it's getting dark here. So
Yeah, I'm gonna. In fact, let me take a commercial break, and then
okay.
we'll come back and kind of wrap up. But yeah, I'm gonna take a little break here, and we're gonna come back. Thank you all for being here, and let's see if I can get this video to play. Sometimes this video doesn't want to play. Let's see.
People still get sick? Or why the occurrence of learning disabilities like ADHD have drastically increased over the last 50 years? How is it that the cancer rate has gone from 1 in 8,000 back in the 1910s to 1 in 2 today. Isn't it odd that even though we are more focused on health than ever before, that there's still been an increase in diseases, disorders, illnesses, and other conditions that destroy your quality of life? What if we told you that the very things you're using in your home to avoid these health concerns and shed some light on some health concerns you may not be aware of? Over the last 100 years, thousands of toxic chemicals have been introduced into society because of an excessive overstock of chemicals designed for warfare in the Second World War. Today, as the 2013 documentary The Human Experiment states, quote, 42 billion pounds of toxic chemicals enter into commerce every day. That amount would fill up 623,000 tanker trucks. And as we speak, there are over 80,000 such chemicals on the market in the U.S. Over the last half century, chemical usage has gone up by 2,000%.
Now, this is one of the main reasons that I wrote my book, From Fear to Faith in the Master Design, because our world is so polluted, toxic, and full of disease. And my new book is a manual for the prevention of disease. And I wrote this after my sister's battle with breast cancer. And so this book is available on Amazon and Barnes and Noble, and you can also get it if you send me a email, and I'll send it as a PDF, because it's only available. It's only available as a ebook, on Kindle. So if you send me a Cash App it's $7.99. It's many stories about people who showed me why the root cause of their disease. So this is available again on Amazon, From Fear to Faith in the Master Design, Moving Toward Enlightenment. Or if you don't have Kindle, you can send me a Cash App and I'll send the book to you as a PDF. And I'm seeing people every day on Facebook who are being diagnosed with cancer. So this is a serious time. And just to come back to travel, this is another reason to travel. Preventing disease, part of it is going to healthier, non-polluted locations. I went to Belize this year. No chemtrails in the sky. And the food, that's what I'm learning, Shonda, is the best thing about traveling is the food. The food ain't like the United States.
It is
like,
not.
You're right. You come back here and you're like, this is not real food. I had real food. Belize, the food was like amazing. Fresh fish every day.
Mm-hmm.
I had some kind of fruit that was like eating vanilla pudding. And my host who I stayed with, she was just introducing me to all the local fruits. And it was just, cashews are very big in Belize. I don't know if you've been to Belize.
I haven't been to Belize.
Okay, so you gotta, if you want to experience cleaner air, I would say that the pluses about Belize, the air, no chemtrails, the sky is beautiful, and the food. And the food. Those were the two highlights for me. Otherwise, too crowded, very crowded, and everybody had bars on their windows and doors. That's the crime rate here. Bad. Crime rate is bad. Because if you think about Belize is in Central America, and it's not too far from Mexico. You can drive to Mexico in about 3 hours, I think, 2 or 3 hours. So, and the place I was staying was right next to the main road that goes straight to Mexico. So every house, we walked on this road and every house had bars on it. I'm like, okay, But my host knew where we were going. And then even when we went into the city, it was just so crowded and bars on every house.
Yeah.
And we took a boat to another island and bars on the even there were
Oh
bars
my goodness.
and houses right next to each other. But the food.
Yeah, the food. The
I,
food. I
so that
100% agree with the food. I have come back because typically when I travel, I'm gone for, a couple of weeks. And when I come back to the United States, I have such a disdain for our food. You can taste the chemicals in it. You literally, once you go out of the country and you ingest, food from various other countries and you come back to the US, you can taste the chemicals in our food, especially if you get fast food. If you get fast food, it's the first thing you're going to taste when you put the food in your mouth.
yeah, it's really unfortunate. And hopefully Robert F. Kennedy Jr., our new HHS secretary, is going to make a difference. He's already working to get dyes out of the food.
Hmm.
I read a report that some of the cereals that use all these dyes, what's that? Something for kids. This is a commercial we used to always tricks are for
Yeah,
kids.
tricks are for kids. We're the ones that's been tricked because it's not fruit, it's chemicals.
It's full of dyes, and when
Yeah.
they said when they took the dyes out, people didn't want to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Isn't
believe
it sad?
I can believe that. I went to London. I went to the UK and to France in 2012, and they had already outlawed a lot of the dyes that were in food. And we're just getting to the point in America where we're outlawing those same dyes. Like I've been to so many places around the world and the dyes are not permitted in food. Like um they make a completely different type of sorry. They make a completely different type of potato chip. The Lays that you buy in other countries aren't the same Lays that you get here in America. The
Really?
Coca-Cola that you get in other countries is not the same Coca-Cola that you get in the United States. The food is completely different. It's completely different. Other countries have these manufacturers to manufacture food specifically for their country. They will not take the American grade of food and distribute it to the people in their country.
So another reason for you to leave America for a while to get a real taste of real food. So what did you observe as far as the health of the people where you travel? Do you notice that people tend to be healthier? Have obesity, for instance. You notice more obesity in other countries, or what have you observed in that area?
So for me, I've observed that a lot of other countries are more walkable. Everybody walks, and I shouldn't say everybody, but most of the people walk. Like they're walking everywhere. They're using public transportation as opposed to being in vehicles and sitting on the highway for hours and hours a day. There's very minimal obesity. And I say that because when you shop in the stores, and I'm not a small person, I'm not, considered morbidly obese, but I'm not a small person by American standards. And going to shop in their stores, you find it difficult to find a large. A large in their sizes is maybe like a small or a medium in our size. So you
Oh,
find it much more difficult. You're not going to find triple X's and double X's. You're not going to find that in the clothing there. If you do, it's very rarely. Especially in Europe, you find Europe is adapting more because there are so many American visitors, but a lot of countries, especially if you go over in Asia, you're not going to find like the larger sizes there.
wow. Yeah, that's to be expected. So one more question for you about packing.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about, or someone posted on Facebook about Southwest is going to be charging checked baggage now, and I said I have never checked a bag with Southwest. I'm like, even if I go for a week and a half, it's carry on. I think I learned traveling with my husband for almost 40 years that
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to pack. And I say I went to Paris, France when I was in seventh grade, and they actually brought someone into our class to show us how to roll and pack our clothing conveniently or expertly or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I learned early that okay, there are ways to pack where you don't have to have three suitcases. What has been your experience as far as packing, and how do you manage that since you do so much traveling?
For me, my saving grace is packing cubes. So
Cute.
I packing cubes. So there are these cubes and they come in a variety of sizes. So there's small, there's medium, there's large, there's extra large. And you put your clothes in there and it compresses it basically so
Oh,
that you only need like, a couple of cubes to go inside of your suitcase.
wow.
Another thing that I do when I travel is I have those same packing cubes and I have like 3 or 4 of the smaller ones. And I take those cubes, and if I'm going on a short flight, I have a packing cube that has all of my stuff for a short flight in there. If I'm going on a long international flight, I have all of my stuff that goes on a long international flight. If I'm going on a cruise, I have another cube that has my stuff for a cruise. So I'm very, very organized. I'm very
Right.
organized. And because I travel so much, I always have, just my stuff ready to go. I have my hygiene bag. I have just a hygiene bag that stays packed. Like when I come home after a trip, I refill all of the bottles, everything in there, and then put it under the sink. So the next time that it's time for me to go on a trip, I grab that hygiene bag. It's already pre-packed. It already has everything that I need in there. And then I just take that and just throw it in the suitcase. The same thing with I have my bag, my little bags that I carry, the 3 bags that I just described. Each one of those has like my laundry bag in there. It has like all of my stuff that I'll need for a trip inside of there.
So now, so in all those little bags, what do you take with you to make sure you stay healthy and you don't get sick? Or if you do get sick, do you have like a little cube for health and wellness bag?
I do. So in my carry-on bag, I have like medicine. I have like an entire emergency kit. And I recommend that everybody packs one of these. So it's just a small bag. I wish I had known we were going to talk about this because I would have brought it out. It's just a small bag. It's about this big. And in there, I have medicine. I have Band-Aids. I have aspirin. I have cold medicine. I have a hair tie. I have,
That's important.
yeah, believe it or not, I carry in a small little Ziploc, I carry an extra pair of underwear in there because you never know when you're at the airport. I have a toothpaste, toothbrush. I have one of those little compressed face towels. I have like my little miniature in there, like literally about this big, my little miniature soap, conditioner, all of that go in there. So everything, this little bag always travels with me on the plane. Always.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
always has everything I need. I always have an extra phone charger because getting stuck in the airport, you may not be near, you may or you may not be near a charging station where you can plug in. So I always carry a phone charger with me. The phone charger that I carry is actually one that is solar, so that if I'm not able to plug it back in, I can sit it in the sun and it can recharge itself. I carry a solar charger with me. I carry, what else do I carry? I'm trying to think. Oh, I carry a poncho, a little small plastic poncho. I keep that in there because I've gotten to places and it's pouring down raining and I can't dig in my suitcase and get my umbrella out. So I always make sure I have a poncho with me. I'm trying to think of a straw. I always have a straw, and I always have
A straw?
a straw. The
Oh,
reason
okay.
I carry a straw is because it's a life straw, and so it's compactable, and it's normally about, the normal length of a straw, but it compacts. And the reason I carry that is because, say for instance, I land in a country and we're stuck in the airport. I can't drink water in every country, but with a life straw, it cleanses the water and I'm able to drink the water so I won't get sick.
Oh, so when you're sucking, it's purifying the
It's
water.
purifying water, yeah.
That's a great idea.
So
Yeah.
I carry a life straw with me everywhere that I go, because you never know, what type of
Oh,
situation you'll end
absolutely.
up
Absolutely.
in. And then I carry like a little portable spork. It's a spoon and a fork. I carry one of those also. And
Yeah.
that can be used as a weapon. That can be used, for an eating utensil. But, so those are some of the things that I carry with me. I'm sure there's plenty of more things in there, but I just
Have
can't think.
you ever gotten sick on one of your trips?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to go to Mexico a lot because living in California, you go down to Mexico for the weekend. And my girlfriend warned me. She's like, "Whatever you do, do not drink the water. Don't drink the water." Okay, the water includes ice. Ice includes blended drinks. I had a blended margarita and I had one of the worst sicknesses I've ever had. I mean, I was like out. We were there for 4 days and I was in bed all 4 days.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Well, see, I learned something in China though. We were told not to drink, regular water. So we were
Mm-hmm.
drinking bottled water in the hotel. It was a tour group. We were drinking bottled water in the hotel. But the restaurants that we were eating at, the water they were using, I don't think was filtered because they
Uh,
were cooking the food and we thought we were okay because we were on this tour. There were at least 6 couples with us.
mm-hmm.
We thought we were okay. Everybody got the flu symptoms on this trip. Everybody in the group. By the end of the trip, we were in Singapore at the end. Everybody was sick. And I
Oh
ran
my.
out of I didn't have any really good supplement. All I had was multivitamin. I had plenty
Mm-hmm.
of multivitamins. That's all I had taken with me. And I ran out of that. And so from that experience, I always take activated charcoal
Yeah,
because
I have a prescription of prescription grade anti-diarrheal medicine that my doctor has given me. And I get that prescription refilled like every 6 months because I will not travel without that medication.
yeah, you
Yeah,
you
I
have
will not
to have
travel without that.
you
Yeah.
have to have something that checks the diarrhea and
Mm-hmm.
activated charcoal will absorb any poisons.
Yeah.
And I take vitamin C, the emergency packets they have.
Mm-hmm.
I always put those in my life. Those are the two
Yeah.
things for sure you should always carry when you
The
travel.
other thing I always carry is the electrolytes. The
Yes,
little packets of the electrolytes, I always have like 2 or 3 of those in there, and then
yes,
I always have two of the liquid vitamins. So
yes.
because I am vegetarian, vegan, I go back and forth. Because of that, I do sometimes, not get enough nutrients in some of the food that I'm eating. So I have to make sure that I keep my vitamin levels and my iron and things like that up. So I always make sure I carry that with me as well.
Yes, yes. So smart packing, smart thinking about all
Mhm.
those things is important. So how can people get a hold of you if they want to do some traveling?
So I am Love Travel Girl on all platforms. Love Travel Girl or Shonda Merrick, either one. If you go to Love Travel Girl Agency, you'll see all of my business pages. If you go to Shonda Merrick on any platform, you'll find me, and feel free to reach out. And I am more than happy. Just let me know, you saw me on the show, and I am more than happy to work with you.
Is that lovetravelgirl.com?
Yep, lovetravelgirl.com. And you will see that we're going through a rebranding right now, which will be done at the end of the month. So come May 1st, if you guys want to come back to lovetravelgirl.com, we will be rebranded. And I'm very excited about the rebrand. I'm not going to talk about it, but yeah, very
You're not going to talk about it?
well, because it's a completely different direction that I'm taking. I was very much into the, let's travel, but there is, and this is the reason that I agreed to do your show. There's another side to travel. Like you said, there's the gratitude, there's the creativity part, there's the relaxation part. So I really want to focus on the benefits of travel and not just travel just to be traveling. There's so much on social media, there's so many things that you see, oh well, I went here, and people were just going just to take the images and not taking away meaning from those destinations. There's a lot to gain from visiting places other than filling up your Instagram or your social media feed with pictures and videos and things like that. There's a lot, and that's what I want people to focus on when they travel with
I
Love
love
Travel
that.
Girl.
I love that idea, because these days, we're about raising the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Just, oh, let's go travel. Let's have
Yeah.
fun. Let's get drunk every night and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, we got to refocus.
Right.
It's like you got to have a divine reason for doing everything. Don't waste any time.
Yeah. And it's not by happenstance that people are being sent to these places. They're just not looking beyond self. They're looking, inward, and they want, oh, I want the picture by the pool. Oh, I want to show myself doing this, doing that, and doing all of these things when you could be there to change someone's life. Someone can be watching you, and they can see you as an image that, they look up to, especially a lot of, younger women. They look up to, women our age, and they say, oh, you know what? Well, she's doing this. I aspire to do that one day. And they don't have to wait until they're our age to do it. They can do it while they're younger and have more freedom and more ability to travel to these places.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you on TikTok, Facebook, all those?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm starting a Substack where I'll be doing some writing, which is my first true love is writing and photography.
Oh,
So
wow. Good.
I will be doing those more. I'm getting like really more away from, like I said, the video and the typical social media. And I want to get more back into my writing and more into my photography. My dad has given me a task of doing a photography, a table book of my travels.
Oh,
So
oh,
I'm working on
absolutely. Absolutely. I have, I went to Maui have you been to Hawaii?
I love Hawaii. Yes.
Okay, you got to get a table book then, because I have one. My son has one of Maui, and I just still like to pull that out and
Hmm.
just go imagine again that we're back there. That was like one of the best vacations we had up to a point, because we got to Maui one night. My two sons, my sister was with me, my husband and I, and we were in a 6-hour traffic jam
Oh
before
my,
we got to the condo. We were 6 hours in a traffic jam because you had to go on this
yeah.
narrow bridge, and there was accident. We get to the condo, and we say, "Oh, turn the air on, turn the air on." There's
There's
no
no
air.
conditioning.
Opened up the windows, and this heavenly breeze came. Whoosh! And I was in love with Hawaii from then on, because that was just what we needed after all that.
Yeah.
And the rest of the trip was just amazing,
Yeah,
amazing.
I love Hawaii. I visited Oahu. I love the North Shore. I'm not a fan of Honolulu. I don't like the big city part, but I love the North Shore of Hawaii. Of Oahu, I'm sorry, of Oahu. I love Maui, I love Lanai, and I love Kona. So I've visited 4 of the islands in Hawaii, and I will continue to go back. I think it's just a very special place.
Yeah, yeah. I was praying after the big fire because I was there on that street, and that
Mm-hmm.
brought back so many memories. In fact, that the condo was down the street from where the fire was. So yeah, I'm still praying for them to
Yeah.
recover, rebuild, and all that craziness.
Well, I
But
just
yes,
hope the land stays with the people. I hope that it doesn't become overly commercialized. I hope that
yes,
the land stays with the people.
yeah. There's a lot of controversy with Oprah and her role in all that, so we don't have to
Well,
go.
you know what? And I don't typically get into stuff like that, but I will say this, and only because I heard it firsthand. She has done a lot to save them from overdeveloping Maui.
That's
She
wonderful.
bought, yeah, she bought a significant amount of acreage in Maui and in Hawaii. And she has done a lot of conservative measures to make sure that the land stays, not not overdeveloping the land is what
Yeah,
she's doing. They don't want like the big buildings and things like that. And I did venture over to the side of the island where she lives, and it is very, I mean, it's just it's so homey. It reminds you of like driving back into the country, down south where you see like, the beautiful houses and, everything is spread out and there's farms and it's a beautiful part of the island. So, I will attribute and give her credit for that. I don't know what the intentions are with the new land, but from what I understand and from what I've seen and from what I've heard as a firsthand account, she has made some very serious conservative conservation efforts for the island.
that's good to hear. Really good to
Hmm.
hear because I'm praying for all the people who lost their homes and who it's an expensive place to live
Hmm.
and visit, but I loved it. Just love it's a great experience.
Yeah,
Everyone should go to Hawaii at least once or
they
twice.
should. They should.
But that's checked off my bucket list. Don't need to go there. I'm gonna head to Fiji now that you've
You should
inspired.
definitely go to Fiji.
Gotta
Yes.
go to Fiji. I thought Greece. Have you ever been to Greece?
I have. I've been to Greece. I've sailed through the Mediterranean, through the Greek islands. I love Greece. And I find that while I love and I enjoy Europe, I prefer to be in places that are more of my history. And there's so much that I don't know about my history that I would prefer to travel to Africa and places that are indigenous for people of color.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I don't
Hmm.
blame you. I'm just looking for the great beach. So, uh,
Yeah.
someone
Great
said
beaches.
Greece had the number one beach, but now you're
The
saying
number
Fiji.
one beach in the world is actually in Australia. It's on the north shore of Australia. I can't think of the name of it now, but I will send it to you. That's the number one beach in the world.
No
After that is
salt,
the
huh?
Philippines. After that is the Philippines, and then I think it goes into the South Pacific, and then somewhere in there it goes back to Europe. But your most beautiful beaches are going to be in the South Pacific, Australia, in that region.
Yeah, okay. I'm headed for Fiji next then. So you don't rate Greece beaches as in the high.
They were nice, they were beautiful, but they were not of comparison to the South Pacific.
Okay, we got it now. All right, everybody. Anybody have any questions before we go? Everything. Frances says she love travel girl interview. So
Thank you,
thank you.
Francis.
So you're on TikTok as Love Travel Girl.
I'm on TikTok as Shonda Merrick. So
Oh,
yeah, Shonda
Shonda
Merrick.
Merrick.
So
Okay, so I
just
got
look up Shonda Merrick and you'll find me on every platform almost.
and Facebook as well.
Facebook is Shonda Merrick also. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I so appreciate. I've enjoyed this conversation with you,
I
and
have too. Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
we'll have to do this again. As you travel, you need to come back and
Oh,
share your experience because we really want to motivate adults as well as young people
yes.
get away from their environments and learn more
Hmm.
about the world.
Yeah, I agree. And you learn so much. Once you begin to travel, then you start to understand why people are the way that they are. Like one of the things I tell people, and you've experienced China, is when you go to like China and Japan and you come back here to America, one of the things that I found was, I used to always think, oh, well, why are people, so rude? Why don't they say, excuse me? When you go to China and you go to Japan, if you say, excuse me, that's all you'll say all day, every day, because there are so many people and you're literally walking like this because there's so many people that are there. So, excuse me isn't part of that person's custom. But you wouldn't know that if you never went to their country and you never experienced that. So, I think as people get out into the world and they begin to experience the world and they begin to learn, people's customs, people's cultures, people's language, and different things like that, it makes us respect each other more. It makes us have a much, much higher level of respect for other people.
So we're going to add respect to the list
Yes.
of reasons to travel. You learn respect, you experience respect. It's funny you say that because my son and his girlfriend went to London last year, and they thought that the people there called them somewhat rude because they weren't always saying excuse me or pardon me, or he would ask. My son said he would ask for directions, and some guy said, well, in London we always say pardon me first. So that was the attitude, kind of an arrogance in London, whereas like you say in China, Japan, probably a little more humility because they're always bumping into each other. And I found the people in China to be so nice.
They were
so
nice. Yeah.
Everywhere we went, there was just, and we were celebrities because my husband's was very dark, and they thought he was some basketball player or something. If we were in Tiananmen Square, we had people asking to take pictures with us.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Perfect strangers, and we're like, what is going? They don't see many of us over there.
No, they don't. And so I found that as well. It was a lot, just having just random people come up to you and want to take photos and want to take pictures with you, or they're trying to, nonchalantly videotape you. That was a little unnerving for me. I find that a lot in Asian countries. I don't know what it is. I don't know what to attribute it to, but I do find that a lot. I found it in the Philippines. Well, not so much in the Philippines, but in Hong Kong, in Singapore, in Japan. Like everybody would just pull their phones out and they would want to take pictures or videos with you. And it got to the point, thankfully, I was with one of my cousins who does like a lot of like private security work. And he would literally like walk in front of me to keep people from taking pictures of me and, like blocking their cameras. Like and he was like, no, he's like, she's not. And I was like, do I look like a celebrity? Like, what is it?
Yes. They don't see many dark-skinned people, I don't think, because you observe that as you're traveling. Most of them are pale and straight hair, so we come along curly hair, dark skin. It's like, oh my goodness, who are you? Loved it.
Another thing, like everybody automatically thinks that because you're of African American or African descent, that who are you, what do you do, what affords you to be able to travel. But why can't I be a normal person like you? Why can't I be just a regular person that enjoys traveling, and I'm just on a trip just like you are?
Yes. And I don't think they have access to a lot of media, their television and all that. So that's another part of it. They're not even seeing us on media, I guess. That's my So when you show up in person, let me take a picture. Can I get the autograph? Nice place to visit, though. Again, you come back very grateful to have experienced that culture that's not rude, and yet they really appreciate having you there. Now, Francis says, my daughter suffered some trauma in China. Hey, I'm sure everybody's going to have their own experience. It's like, I think each of us, when we travel, we're going to get exactly the lessons we need.
We do. Yeah, we do. We
You-
get the lessons that we need, and we come away more grateful for things in our lives that we take for granted.
Absolutely. And in the United States, too much being taken for granted, too much complaining, too much protesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, time for me to get out of the States and go to Fiji. That's where I'm headed.
Yes. Well,
Thank you.
enjoy. And I would love to work with you when you're ready to go.
Oh, all right. All right. I'll contact you. Maybe we can all go together.
That would be
You
wonderful.
want to go back, right?
Oh, of course. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's plan that. And we
Yeah,
all
the South Pacific is my vibe. I will go back there anytime.
okay. Oh, I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And to all my yogi friends out there, namaste and satnam. And we will see you on Friday morning. I'll be health and well-being with Viata. Until then.
Thank you, Viata.